Mr. Speaker, in terms of moving our country forward, we've all recognized that agriculture is an important player and will continue to be an important driver of the economic transformation process in our country. And when we look at the budget, Mr. Speaker, we will see that there's a lot of emphasis being placed on the restructuring of the traditional agricultural activities. But also, and very importantly, there's also a large amount, an increased amount of resources in ensuring too that we diversify and we build a new agricultural sector. Because we need to build a new agricultural sector to accelerate the transformation process taking place in our country. And let us, Mr. Speaker, let us turn to the issue of sugar in terms of the restructuring. Mr. Speaker, in the national budget, the allocation to the agricultural sector has increased by 22%, with an increase about 35% on the capital expenditure and a reduction of about 12% on the current. What that tells us, if we break down that investment and allocation, we will see that the investments are focused on the transformational aspects of the agricultural development as we seek in a larger and in a much wider context of modernizing and diversifying our national economy. And Mr. Speaker, the issue of sugar has been well analyzed by the Honorable Minister of Finance in his presentation. But I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that Guyana's sugar industry and the difficulties that Guyana's sugar industry face are not dissimilar to what across the region. And in fact, just yesterday in the Trinidad Express, it was reported that the Barbadian sugar industry, the remnants of their sugar industry, they've had to send home hundreds of workers because of low production, low productivity, and poor performance. In fact, in Belize too, Mr. Speaker, which is significantly in terms of size to Guyana, in November of last year, the government of Belize had to inject close to $6.7 million as a loan to the Belize sugar industry as a bailout to deal with the issues of production, productivity, and its difficulties. In Guyana, Mr. Speaker, in Guyana, we have crafted the turnaround plan, which is called the Strategic Blueprint for 2019 to 2030. And I wish, Mr. Speaker, to report that all the indicators except the very one, I will agree it's the very one, the production target, all the indicators have been satisfied under the turnaround plan. And I can go through that, Mr. Speaker, I can go through this. We have in terms of the upgrade and the expansion of the Enmore factory and rationalization of the East Demerara cultivation, that is well advanced. And in a few weeks' time, we will be commissioning the packaging plant. If we look in terms of expansion of the Blairmont estate and the agriculture side, that is in progress. If we look also in terms of the raising of financing through the sale of the diamond land for housing and commercial development, that is being realized. And I wish to address this point because the financing of the strategic blueprint, the main source of financing of the strategic blueprint or the turnaround plan is on the basis of land disposal, and more particularly the diamond estate land as is being advanced for housing and other economic activities. So this suggestion that this government in some form, in some wicked deed, is seeking to divert money from CHNPA into Gaisuco is, Mr. Speaker, it is total rubbish. It is total rubbish. Mr. Speaker, because this strategic blueprint was also made aware to the Economic Services Committee. of which the Honorable Member, Mr. Ramjatan, is a member. So he was aware that the means and mechanism through which the turnaround plan will be financed was through land sale, lands disposal by Gaisuco. How then can you come several months after and then suggest some ulterior motive that the government is diverting money to Gaisuco? And even if we were diverting money, as long as we've done it through the legal means, once it's in the interest of the sugar workers, what is wrong with that? Mr. Speaker, this document was made aware to members of the National Assembly. This document was fully ventilated. So it's nothing about speaking the truth. The facts are known. If people don't do research, it's a different issue. Or if people just can't recall what was discussed several months ago, it's a different issue. But you cannot. It is doing a disservice to this august body to come and to inject any motives or also to cast aspersions on a totally legal sale transaction that even this National Assembly was aware of. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the rice industry, attention will continue to be given in terms of increasing and expanding the competitiveness of the rice industry. And I wish, Mr. Speaker, to salute our rice farmers once more, to salute our rice farmers for an outstanding performance last year in terms of production, and other stakeholders, the millers and the exporters, for us also recording a historic level of exports of in excess of 335,000 tons. All stakeholders need to be commended on that achievement. And the rice industry, though, Mr. Speaker, we already have seen progress in terms of value added, in terms of ensuring that we get greater value for our rice. Mr. Speaker, we will also continue to pursue large-scale agriculture whilst we're supporting our small farmers. And our small farmers do face real difficulties. That is why I'm happy that we've seen an increase in allocation by 22%. No one is saying out there that the situation and the conditions under which our farmers and perhaps other sectors exist is the perfect one. But we have recognized and we have our priorities right in making the necessary investments and putting the programs in place so that we can deal with issues, the limitations in terms of drainage and irrigation, the limitations in terms of dealing with planting material, in terms of dealing with new pest and animal disease that is arising out of the result of climatic changes, among other factors. The issue of dealing with financing to help especially our small farmers and large farmers. These programs are being geared to address those inadequacies. So I will tell you up front that there are inadequacies, because I go out nearly every day to cover as many farming communities. And I sit and we work together and we try to identify that. And this government seek to find solutions to those issues. We're not going to come here and say, oh, it is paradise. It is the Garden of Eden. It is not the Garden of Eden. But what we will tell you, and what the facts are, that you have a government that is cognizant of the reality, a government that has the vision, and the government that has a very aggressive program of transforming this country, including the agricultural sector in this regard. Within the new agricultural sector that we're creating, it will take time. It will take time. Within that new agricultural sector, that we provide the opportunities for wealth for all farmers and also provide the opportunities for job creation throughout the value commodity chain. Agriculture is not only about planting in the fields. Agriculture is throughout an entire value commodity chain. And that is what we're building. We are building an agri-business sector in this country. We're building an agri-business sector whereby opportunities for wealth, opportunities for job, and opportunities for our country's development are given much attention and focus. Mr. Speaker, the issue of land is also important. And that is why, under this government, we have restructured the land management system of our country. We have modernized it. We have, in fact, gone through what other countries would have described as a revolution in land tenure policies, In fact, today, the ODA did a study, in fact, out of the UK, whereby they did a study in terms of our land management systems, and they found Guyana to be one of the more progressive, have one of the more progressive land management systems. And yes, we also have a draft land use policy. We have a draft land use policy, and certainly that will go through the stages also of engaging the National Assembly, But we want, at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the day, to ensure equitable access to land, but also now ensuring that in future generations, and that is why the government is taking a very studied, a very careful, and in fact a very scientific approach to land management and land utilization, in which future generations, future farmers, future Guyanese, the young people of this country can also have access to land so that they can develop themselves and develop our country. The budget 2011 is described as the people's budget, Mr. Speaker, offers an opportunity for us to continue this transformational process. It offers an opportunity for all Guyanese, notwithstanding our political or other affiliations or allegiances, to work together. And our government, Mr. Speaker, in all sectors of our economy, will continue to pursue and to ensure that the opportunities are there for all Guyanese, to make a contribution towards the peace, progress and prosperity of Guyana.